The Emperor Nero. He fiddles while Rome burns. Tortures the Christians.
He has them dressed up in wild animal skins and torn apart limb from limb by wild dogs.
Then he turns them into human torches. He kills his wives and squanders money like an oil sheik. Emperor Nero rules Rome for just 13 years. In that time, he carves out a place for himself as one of history's most notorious tyrants. By the middle of his reign, the very sight of him makes Romans tremble with fear. He's born in 37 AD into a very troubled Roman family. His father dies when Nero is just 3 years old, and for a while, his male role model is Uncle Caligula, not the type of guy to get out and throw the ball around. Nero finds no comfort in the bosom of his mother, Agrippina, Caligula's little sister. She's not one for family values.
Agrippina's really messed up. She was brutalized and then banished by her brother Caligula. She's basically grown up believing that murder and incest are the norm, and she's perfectly prepared to use them to get what she wants.
It is virtually impossible to slip poison into the food of the emperor. But Agrippina finds a way.
According to the sources, Claudius meets his end at a drunken banquet when he eats a dish of poisoned mushrooms. With Claudius out of the picture, Nero is crowned emperor. 59 AD, 5 years into his reign. The Emperor Nero, 25 years old, makes a momentous decision, even for him. He's going to kill his mother.
Here the sources attribute to Nero a quick intelligence. Takes a sword, throws it at the feet of the messenger that's been sent by Agrippina, and says that Agrippina has sent the messenger to kill him.
Nero has the excuse he's been looking for, an attempted assassination by his mother. Anything he now does will be taken as an act of self-defense.
It's a brilliant move. He goes from being the villain to the victim.
Nero sends his Praetorian Guard to Agrippina's villa to finish the job. Agrippina bares her stomach and tells the guards to strike her in the womb that gave life to her killer. They do, and she dies.
That night, he is plagued with nightmares. And when he wakes up, Nero announces, "Today is the first day of my rule." He's finally got the power.
Nero was now ready to be the man he always wanted to be. And according to Suetonius, that man was a poet, an actor, and a musician.
Nero has now become emperor of Rome. But rather than just pure power, what he has now achieved is the stage that he has always wanted. He now has the platform which he can fulfill his dream of everybody loving him. He is now literally the center of attention of the world.
10 years into his rule, 27-year-old Nero has settled in for the long haul. Anyone who displeases him doesn't last long. No one dares plot against him.
Nero has now become addicted to the crowd. He's totally hooked on adulation. Any amount of it is not enough. This is part of his personality pathology. It shows that deep inside of him, he needs that continued love by the crowd. He's become like a rock star, on call 24 hours a day.
Nero fiddles while Rome burns. It's the myth that dogs him through history. But it's not a fiddle. It's a lyre, an ancient stringed instrument. And Nero isn't playing a jig.
The sources even tell us what song he was singing. It was a lament to the fall of Troy.
One possibility is to think of Nero as psychotic at this point, but the evidence does not support that. If anything, he's accepted this reality as his shining moment. The world is in flames around him. He continues to perform. This is the moment that he's been waiting for.
The fire burns for 6 days. Rumors spread that it was arson. Nero quickly finds somebody to blame. A bunch of religious zealots who've become an annoyance around the city. The Christians. Nero orders Christians rounded up and subjected to a savage form of punishment.
He prefers to use scourging, which is like whipping, but far worse.
That's because the whip is weighted with spiked metal balls. He poisons his stepbrother and has his mother killed. He has one wife beheaded and kicks another to death while she's pregnant. He uses the scourge on Christians and turns them into human torches. He kills senators and steals from Romans by tampering with their money. The Roman Senate passes a resolution declaring him an enemy of the state. His luck has finally run out.
Nero's out of options. He's bankrupted the empire, he's sacked all the temples, and he's murdered most of the ruling elite. His only option left is to commit suicide by falling on his sword. His last words were supposed to have been, "Oh, what an artiste dies in me," which would only be fitting. In fact, he's such an artiste that he can't even do that properly, and he needs a companion to help him kill himself.
A freed slave helps Nero with the final deed. The curtain falls for the last time. Nero is 30 years old.
At the news of Nero's death, the Senate took immediate action. De Nata Memoria. They wanted to condemn his existence. They wanted to condemn the fact that he had ever been a ruler of Rome. So they carve out his names, they topple his statue, and he will cease to exist